All right. Hey. All right. Whoever gets here first, make sure to let me know if you can hear me. I see. Is it Jawad? I want to say, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right. Correct me if I'm not. Make sure that I've got everything right. And let me know if you can hear me. I'm in a hotel. I've got a big window. I've got the trusty AverMedia AM133 sitting here in front of me. So hopefully you can hear me all right. And somebody give me a thumbs up in the comments or let me know you can hear me before we get started. And I'm a few minutes early, so I'm going to give folks a chance to jump in. Usually we get, I don't know, 10 or 20 folks. He's live. Is it Shua? Shua O? Shua? I'm not sure how to pronounce. Give me pronunciations for your names for those of you who are jumping in first time. Usually I have the same handful of folks that always come in here, but I'm already seeing. Awesome. Hi, hi. Hello. Hey, perfect. Oh, good, 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 good. Especially because this microphone you guys have seen me do some videos about is a live streamer microphone. That's actually what it's supposed to be for. So yeah, we'll give folks a few minutes to jump in here before I get into the topic of the day. I'm just going to do a quick 30-minute Q&A. I'm going to talk for 5-10 minutes about some stuff that's on my mind lately. And then you guys are welcome to just ask questions. And so if you want to start putting questions in the chat right now, by all means do that. That way I can start thinking about them and figuring out what I actually want to answer. For those of you who follow me across the other places on social media, at B Miller Magic, anywhere else on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, you probably know that I'm nearing the end of a 3-week nationwide tour right now. It's been insane. I've had 18 events in 14 states inside of 21 days. And I think 14 of those 18 events were speaking engagements, inspirational, motivational speeches, mostly for college students at the beginning of their fall semester right now. And then the other 3 or 4 of them have been magic shows, like I used to do for 10 years as a full-time entertainer. So yeah, if you're not following me on other places on social media, it's at B Miller Magic. Instagram I use for stories and for up to date stuff. I don't use Instagram as much as I should be. I have a very small subscriber base over there because I don't use it much. But I'm obviously most active here on YouTube. I'm much more active lately on LinkedIn and Twitter. That's actually where I'm putting most of my focus. LinkedIn for longer form blogs and sharing articles, and Twitter for, up to date kind of stuff. So if you have questions today about work-life balance, personal success, professional success, being self-employed, balancing passions you have outside of your 9 to 5, anything that falls into that genre. That's what I want to do today. I don't want to talk about audio unless there's no other questions. I guess we could talk about that. But on that note, the thank you to everybody who went over and subscribed to the new audio. The microphone makes a strange sound. The one I'm using right now, it makes a strange sound. I hope that's not the case. I've recorded with this many, many times. It seems to be pretty flawless. Somebody else let me know if you're also hearing a strange sound from this microphone. But that surprised me because I've recorded with this so many times, and I don't think I've ever had any issues with it for any reason. So looks like it's connected well. Yeah, it's well connected. Okay, so let me talk for a few minutes about some things that have been on my mind recently, especially because I have spoken to thousands and thousands and thousands of college students and young professionals, young adults over the last few weeks, and a lot of these same topics and same questions keep coming up. So let me start with a quote. One of my all-time favorite musicians is Sammy Hagar. Sammy Hagar was the lead singer for Van Halen in the second half of Van Halen's career. He's had a massive solo career dating back to the 60s. He was a 60s guy, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and he is still kicking. And there's a song he released with his solo band back in the early 2000s that was called Not for Sale. Not for Sale. And the chorus to that song has the quote, "All the money in the world wouldn't change my life because my life's not for sale." I had that quote in my high school yearbook. I had it again in my college yearbook, and it's on my mind a lot recently because we spend a lot of time talking about, professional success. I feel like we spend very, very little time talking about personal success, right? A lot of people are focused on being happy at home and successful at work. But I never hear people talk about being successful at home and happy at work, right? And there really ought to be a balance between these two things. Recently on my podcast, One New Person, I had Seth Godin. Many of you guys listened to that episode, to the conversation. He's, the father of modern marketing, a legend of marketing, but also something of a personal success guru for the last 10 years. He's a hero of mine. He's become a mentor and something of a friend. And I asked him about how he balances life, work, and art recently on when he was on my podcast. And he said something that I wish everybody on planet Earth could hear. It was so profound. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, balance is a tricky word because I don't think there's such a thing. There's just time. And he said the reason people struggle with work-life balance is because they're doing a job, they're doing some work that just sucks the life out of him. And Seth said, maybe we should redesign our work so that we do work that makes us feel alive. And then we don't have to worry about work-life balance because we just have life, this one thing, right? And I love the way he talked about the fact that he said, I try to do things that are part of the big thing. You get to pick your big thing. What is it that you want out of this life? Figure out what that is, and then figure out how to have your personal life and your professional life both aiming towards that big goal, that big thing. Spend all of your time, whether you're at work or at home, working towards the big thing. And that's when you start to get harmony between work life and you don't have to worry about this hard line distinction anymore. So it's important to acknowledge the fact that success is relative, right? Your version of success, my version of success, there are so many different ways to conceive of personal success and professional success. Some people are aiming at that CEO, C-suite, corporate climb the ladder thing, and they believe that that's what they want out of life. Now, some people actually want that. I think many more people think they want that because of what they've seen on TV and the movies and don't realize what that life is actually like. But let's say that's what you want. Great. You need to figure out if your intentions align with your vision, right? If the things that you're doing and the accomplishments, the steps, the stepping stones that you're going through on a day-to-day and a week-to-week basis are actually in congruency, if they're actually lining up with the professional success, the goal that you have set out for yourself. Now, you might be someone who has no interest in climbing the corporate ladder. Your goal, your version of success may be, I know some people in my life, I have friends that are very, very happy working a boring 9 to 5, something that takes up none of their emotional energy, none of their mental energy. They clock in, push papers around, clock out, because what they get out of life is spending their nights and weekends with their family and friends, going on trips, going kayaking, going to the movies, and when your goal is to design a life where you get to spend the maximum amount of time with your friends and family, and you just need to make enough money to support those things you want to do on the nights and weekends, then for a lot of people, they're just not interested in any version of life that has a difficult work, right? That has work that's difficult. people like me, I thrive off of doing difficult work. I need challenges in my work life to feel alive. I need to be challenged to have critical thinking all day. I need obstacles to pop up and find ways to get through them. That's what gets me going every day. That's what makes me feel alive. And so I love my personal life, but I love spending time with my wife. I love spending time with my friends, but I need challenge. Not I don't need to challenge other people. I don't need to be disagreeing with people all day, but I need something that shakes me out of my rhythm every single day. That's to me, that's the beauty. That's the beauty of life. And so my version of success, your version of success is relative. The key is you have to ask yourself, are the things I'm doing on a daily basis, are the things I'm doing on a weekly basis aligning? Are they congruent with my version of success, or are they at least getting me closer to what I want out of life? No, I think it's really important to draw attention to the fact that many of you are meeting me, whether you've been on this channel for 3 or 4 years or you just jumped in recently. If you've just discovered my work over the last few years, um, you're meeting me at a time when I've already gone through the really, really difficult climb up the hill because I started doing, backyard barbecues, doing card tricks at backyard barbecues, for $25, for $50. I did the starving artist life for a few years. Now, I was born into like, a middle class, American family. Like I wasn't born into poverty. I didn't struggle with that. So I need to clarify that, right? That everybody has you you were born into whatever you're born into. So I didn't have to climb out of poverty. I'm a white male in America. I didn't have to fight against privilege, against, right? I've had a privileged life, all things considered. But having said that, when I started my career as a magician, it was just me out there desperately trying to find enough money to make my rent and feed myself if I was lucky, by doing magic shows. And so I climbed and climbed and climbed that ladder to get to this globe-trotting, world-traveling career. That old cliche, you've probably heard it before. It takes 10 years to become an overnight success. My TEDx talk exploded and went viral literally at the 10-year mark of being a professional magician. It actually took 10 years for me to have that moment where everything aligned and my TEDx talk went viral. And then I was able to make the most of that opportunity and push it over the last 4 or 5 years into this incredible career that I've got today. But if you meet me now, and this is what happens, we see people on the internet all day, every day, all day, who have these amazing, thriving careers. They're always taking photos from airplanes and hotel rooms and big stages, and they look just like, man, how is everybody so successful, and I'm just struggling. Well, those people weren't always successful, right? Nobody is putting on Instagram the really dirty struggle at the beginning. We always put the best version of ourselves out into the world. And so you need to remember that success is a moving target and you have to pursue it with intentionality all the time. The key, if there is a key to success personally and professionally, is relationships. It's the connections you have, the human interaction you have with the people in your life. You might have heard before, your network is your net worth, right? Your network is your net worth. The reason people say that is, that sounds kind of like a sleazy business thing because networking events get this bad rap. But the reason people say that is because all of the most amazing opportunities come from other people. One of my favorite bands, I started off talking about Sammy Hagar. That's a classic rock kind of thing. One of my favorite bands is Modest Mouse, an alternative rock band. They're kind of hard to pin down. They're an American alternative rock band. And they have this song called People as Places as People. And I've always adored, it's one of my all-time, my top 5 favorite songs of all time, because the song is all about the fact that people are the places that I want to go. Does that make sense? I get asked a lot because I've traveled all over the world performing and speaking, where's your favorite place you've ever been? There's a lot of beautiful places I've been, but a lot of the time when I think of my favorite places I've been, the first thing that comes to mind are the people I met there. I associate my favorite places with the best relationships I ever had. For example, I was in South Korea for 2 days, 2 years ago in 2017, and it's one of my favorite places I have ever been. Now, was it beautiful? Yeah, absolutely. But you know what I think of when I think of South Korea? I think of the taxi driver, the local South Korean taxi driver who drove me all around for like 5 hours because I said, "Listen, I got six. I'm here for. I got a half a day where I have some time." And he spoke English, broken English, and he said, "Where do you want to go?" I said, "Anywhere you want to show me. I have a half a day to explore South Korea, and then I'm out of here tomorrow." And he drove me from place to place to place, and he told me stories, and we laughed, and we had this beautiful, amazing. Oh, you're watching from Seoul right now. That's amazing. Okay, so he drove me all around these amazing places and told me stories, and we laughed, and he asked me questions, I asked him questions, and he did something something amazing, which is he would walk into the places with me. And at one point, he took me up to the top of Solar Tower, which looks out over the Korean Peninsula. And I was just sitting at the top of this insanely tall tower, looking out over a sunset over the Korean Peninsula. It was beautiful, extraordinary. And I'm just sitting there taking it all in. And all of a sudden, I hear this wonderful taxi driver. He just comes, kind of quietly creeping up behind me, not trying to be creepy. He comes up from behind me and he hands me a can of Coke. He had gone to the vending machine and bought a Coke and gave it to me. And I know I was paying him for 5 hours, so technically I was kind of the one who paid for it. But he just, we had already been out for hours, and he had this amazing thought, this completely selfless, humanizing moment where he just came up and handed me a Coke. And then he left me alone. He walked away and said, "No, no, no, enjoy yourself, enjoy yourself." So the relationships you have in your life are going to be where your personal and professional success come from. And as I'm prone to saying, I wrote an entire book about this called Three New People, which you can pick up anywhere, Amazon, whatever, 3newpeople.com. You can go check that out. I gave a TEDx talk about this. I write a blog about this every week. I run a podcast about this. Right, this is my life's work. It's the people that make the difference. You have no idea what kind of opportunities await you just on the other side of that next connection. Every time you see someone in a coffee shop, you're standing in line for a few minutes at Starbucks, you have this opportunity, even for 10 seconds, to make a personal human connection with another, with another soul. And just what an amazing opportunity that we pass up in the rush of our daily lives. This amazing researcher in Chicago, his name's Nicholas Epley, and he wrote this book I recommend all the time called Mindwise, about why we misunderstand the thoughts, feelings, and beliefs of others. He says, and I just heard Celeste Headley, who has a famous TED Talk as well. She was just talking about this the other day. Nicholas Epley said in his book Mindwise, he said, "Almost nobody waves, but almost everybody waves back." Right? If you can be the one to reach out to another human, if you can be the one to say, "I hear you, I see you, and I'm here for you." And it doesn't mean you have to spend, 20 minutes in a conversation with that person in line. If you're at Starbucks and you're ordering and the person is taking your order, you can take an extra second to just go, "Hey, what's your name, by the way?" And they can go, "Julia." And you go, "Julia, it's nice to meet you. Is your day going all right?" And they go, "Yeah, yeah, it's good." It's amazing that 10 seconds, that recognition of another person as someone with value, where they feel seen and heard, right? It's amazing what that will do and the doors that it opens up to every single one of us on a daily basis. So I'm going to leave you with this and open it up to a Q&A. Meet people where they're at, right? Meet people where they're at. Don't try to, meet people at the place you want to go, right? Some of us are super high energy people, some of us are low energy people, some of us are extroverts, some of us are introverts. And a lot of the time, we approach our interactions, we approach our daily communication with, I want to get people on my level, right? If I'm an extrovert and a high energy person, like that's me, my instinct is to approach everybody with high energy and try to let's have a conversation, right? Let's do this. But not everybody is like that, and not everybody is like that all the time. So if I see someone and they're kind of having a low energy day, or if they're kind of an introvert, a little shy, I need to adjust my tone, my language to their energy, meet them where they're at. What's amazing is if you meet people where they are, you can metaphorically take their hand, go for a walk. You'd be amazed how far you can take someone when you meet them where they are. You can actually bring them up to a sprint. You can take them to incredible places, and you too can go somewhere that neither of you thought was possible. So that's my little rant for today on the beauty and power of human connection as related to personal and professional success. Now, I would love to answer questions. Let's see. I want to see live chat. Okay, I'm going to scroll through here. I've got people asking camera questions. I'm happy to answer camera questions, but only if I've already dealt with all the other questions people might have. So go ahead and pop them into the chat box right now if you have questions about TED Talks, communication, travel, how to connect with others, extroverts, introverts, personal success, professional success, work-life balance. Anything like that is what I'm kind of in the mood to talk about right now. If I have to talk about cameras and audio, I will, but I already do plenty of that. And while I'm waiting for you guys to pop in some questions into the chat, I would say there are going to be a ton of videos showing up on my new Audio for Content Creators channel. I'm at the very end of this 3-week tour where I literally haven't been home or my office at all to film new videos. Next week, I will start filming a whole ton of new microphone reviews, audio tutorials, comparisons. Yeah, Jawad, I see that you've asked the same question 5 or 6 times, I think, so far about the M3 or the M50 for beginner photography. I will answer that while folks think of any other questions. But if there are no other questions about things, Oh, okay. So, all right, Jawad, I will get back to your question in a minute, but let's see. Jewess, did I pronounce that right? I asked you that last time we did a Q&A. When you're home, do you keep some kind of schedule when you're working from home? Okay, great question. Do I keep a schedule when I'm working from home? Yes, I keep a, you can probably tell I'm a type A. I keep a very, very tight schedule on my life. And there's a lot of, for people who are not used to doing this, keeping like an almost minute by minute schedule for their life, they see people like me that like I have every 30 minutes of my life blocked out. I know exactly what I'm doing like every 30 minutes. And when people who don't do that see people like me, they go, man, like, you never get to enjoy yourself. You never get to experience anything unpredictable or new. And it's like, nope, that's not the case at all. It's because I'm so scheduled that I have freedom to be open to new opportunities. What happens is when you're not scheduled, when you don't have the things that you need to do prioritized and planned out, you're just kind of floating around all over the place, right? And then like you get excited by this thing, so you run off over there, and then this thing excites you, so you run off over there. So, and then you never actually accomplish the thing that you really care about and set out to do. So I work from home. I have a home office, a home studio, and when I'm there, I have like every single 30 minutes of every day blocked out. And what that means is if I have a task that I need to complete and there's 30 minutes allotted for it, that task will be completed in those 30 minutes and it will be done at the end of those 30 minutes. And there's this principle, and I'm blanking on the name of this principle right now, but it essentially says that Tasks expand to fill the time allotted. So if you give yourself an hour to complete a task, it will take an hour to complete that task. If you give yourself 30 minutes to complete that task, it will take 30 minutes to complete that task. We're not talking about unreasonable things. If you say, I'm giving myself 1 hour to write a 200-page book, obviously that's not going to happen. But if I have to go through emails, right, I have dozens and dozens of emails a day between my clients and my management and my agents and, coaching my students, all this stuff, right? So I give myself like 1 hour every day to handle all of my emails. If I gave myself 2 hours, it would take me 2 hours to go through those emails. But I give myself 1 hour, and what that does is it forces you to prioritize the emails you actually have to do and the ones you need to get through today. And then you get through the things you actually have to do, and when the hour is up, boom, what's the next thing on my calendar? Next thing, the next 30 minutes, I'm working on my blog for next week. Boom. 30 minutes later, that blog is done. If I gave myself an hour to work on that blog, it would have taken me an hour to work on that blog, right? We fill the time allotted for tasks. It's the same thing we do if you ever move into a larger place, a bigger apartment, a bigger house, and you buy a bigger place, and suddenly, within a few months, you're out of room again. Why? Because we get more stuff to fill the space that we have. So yes, the answer to your question, Jess, is I do very, very carefully fill all of my time, which gives me the freedom to run off and do things that were unpredictable because I know the things I have to do are being taken care of. They're being accounted for. So let's see, Shua, and please tell me if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Shua, Shua. Is it Shua or Shoa or neither of those things? Jeff, maybe. How do you still make connections with people in the workplace like this when you are a little shy and trying to make progress in a professional environment? Okay, so yeah, this is a really good question. How do you make connections with people in a workplace when you are shy and you're trying to make progress professionally? Yeah, so we're finding out right now that the open office environment, this open office idea, right, that's been going around for the last 5 years, is a fad. There was this idea that open office layouts, right? Nobody has their own office. Everything's open, standing desks where you can just see everybody and talk to everybody, that it would make us more collaborative. And it didn't. It's been a tremendous failure. It's a fad, and it's starting to go away right now. Real offices are coming back because what they found out is that, contrary to what you would think, your intuition is if everybody's accessible at all times, we'll make more connections with people. It'll be more collaborative. But that's been a fundamental misunderstanding of what collaboration is and what connection is. You can't connect at anybody. You can only connect with somebody, right? It's a two-way street. Talking is not necessarily communicating, and communicating is not necessarily connecting. And when you say that you're shy, I think you need to ask yourself the question, are you shy or are you an introvert? Because they're two different things, and you need to be clear on which one you actually are, because they're two completely different things. And which one you are will determine how you approach social conversations, professional communication. So introverts, let's talk real quick about introverts, extroverts. Introverts gain energy from alone time, and they drain energy from conversation, from socializing. Extroverts gain energy from socializing, and they drain energy from alone time. The only difference between introverts and extroverts is how they gain and drain energy. Introverts are not necessarily shy. In fact, many of them are not shy at all. They're very outgoing, but they drain energy quickly from interacting with others, from socialization. Extroverts, we gain energy. I'm an extrovert. When I'm by myself for longer than an hour, I end up I just get drained. All my life force leaves, and I have to go out into the world and talk to somebody. I have to communicate. I have to connect. So Sure, I think it's really important for you to figure out for yourself. Are you shy? Are you actually afraid to talk to people? Or do you just drain quickly from talking to people? Um, my bet is that you just drain quickly from talking to people. There's not, I think it's much more common to meet an introvert than to meet someone who's truly afraid to talk to people. I bet that when you are around people you already know and like, your friends, your family, that you are perfectly happy to talk to them, share stories, you enjoy that time with them. Um, and so what we have to remember is every single person that we enjoy spending time with was once a stranger. I mean, all of them, including your family. Everyone we enjoy being around was once a stranger. So, how do you connect and communicate with people in a professional environment? You need to respect the context of the environment. So, there are certain situations in a workspace, in a work environment, where it's more or less acceptable to be communicating socially, right? There's breaks and workrooms and lunch and stuff like that. But, you can still connect with people on a professional level. So when you are in the work environment, don't bug people when they're working, trying to have a conversation with them if they're trying to get their work done. But within the context of when people have an opportunity, if they're taking a little break, if they're in the break room, if they come to you to collaborate professionally, then you get to implement all of these skills of connection and communication, which are too big for the topic of this video, but that's what my TED Talk's about. That's what my book is about. That's what my podcast is about. That's what my blog is about, right? So first, identify what type of person you are. Are you actually shy, or are you really just an introvert? And then figure out how to respect the context within which conversations happen in the workplace. I hope that was helpful. I feel like it was more rambly than I intended it to be. Let's see. Whole bunch of folks here. Okay, so Jawad. Okay, I'm going to get back to Jawad for a second because he asked the same question many, many times about the cameras, and I was ignoring that because I didn't want to talk about cameras today. But now Jawad is asking me, what advice do I have if you want to start your career on YouTube? Okay, how to start a YouTube career. Start a YouTube career. That's the answer. The answer to how to start a YouTube career is to start uploading videos to YouTube. Any videos, anything at all. You've got a channel. You're capable right now of doing what I did and just hitting record and making a video and going on YouTube. You can go live or you can record it. You've got a phone in your pocket. You've got a camera in your pocket. The thing that you have in your smartphone, the camera in your smartphone, is better than 99% of all professional cameras have been in human history, right? Like, technology is amazing. The gatekeepers are gone. You don't need to wait for permission to start a YouTube channel, to start a blog, to write a book, you could do whatever you want. There's nobody you need permission from anymore. You don't have to wait for anyone to tell you that it's okay to do it except for you. You want to launch a YouTube channel, start making YouTube videos. And biggest tip, if you're going to start a YouTube channel or a blog or a podcast, and you should, everybody should be doing something, a blog, a podcast, a YouTube channel, whatever. Everybody, no matter what you do for your profession, should be finding some way to put your thoughts into the world. It's a really good practice. We learn about who we are when we show up over and over and over again on YouTube or LinkedIn or on a blog or on a podcast or Instagram. And like once a week, once every other week, however often you can commit to it, you say something about the world, some way you feel. And if you're worried about other people, this is a Seth Godin piece of advice, by the way. He says if you're worried about how other people are going to feel about you, or maybe your coworkers would accidentally stumble upon it, and so you think, oh, I don't, then write a blog anonymously. Make a channel where you don't show your face. Make a channel where you just talk about the world and you don't actually show yourself. But do something on a regular basis where you put your thoughts, your opinions, your feelings and beliefs into the world and you claim them and you go, this is how I feel, this is how I think about the world right now. If If nobody's watching, if nobody's reading, it's still worth doing because we learn more about who we are and how we move through the world. And it's very valuable. So one piece of advice, if you're going to start a YouTube channel, don't look at the numbers. It doesn't matter how many people are watching, okay? It just doesn't matter. Until you've got 100 or 200 people watching on a regular basis, ignore the numbers, ignore the metrics. Just focus on saying something worthwhile and doing work that matters, all right? All right, let's see here. I'm going to do, I think, one more. Unfortunately, I have to go very, very soon because I do have an event tonight and I have to be loading in just over an hour. I have to get out of here and go load in. So, all right. Somebody that has that just popped in here. Polyglota online. I'm sure I'm butchering how to say that. Polyglota online. Do you have any tips for content creators? Okay. This is a very similar question. So, any tips for content creators? I'm an English teacher in Brazil. Excellent. I love to make videos. It seems slow at the beginning, not many views. Any input? Yes. Okay. I'll close with this. Any input? I have lots of input. The entire first year that I ran my YouTube channel, I was uploading 3 videos a week, and I never had more than about 20 viewers per video. 20 views per video at most. It was probably immediate friends and family. For 1 full year, I uploaded 2 to 3 videos a week, and no one was watching. And as I was just saying, you have to ignore the metrics. What you have to do is decide how many people are watching doesn't matter. What matters is that I get better at doing my work. I get better at the craft of making videos. Focus on clarity. Focus on intention. What is every video trying to say? What are you saying in it? Make sure that you tell people what you're going to do, what you're going to talk about, then talk about it, and then tell them what you talked about, right? This is like kind of, essay writing, storytelling 101, and figure out really clearly what is it you want someone watching to take away from your video. So put yourself in the mindset of the person watching and go, if I were watching, who's watching? Who is the kind of person that would be watching this video, and what should they be taking away from it? And then reverse engineer your videos. This is a Malcolm Gladwell tip. He says, very few people talk about, he says, everybody talks about how to start a story. Very few people talk about how to end a story. But if you know the end of your video, if you know the point of your book, right? When I wrote my book, 3 New People, I knew the last chapter. I knew the end before I wrote the book. And so the whole process of writing the book was figuring out how to get from where the reader was to where I wanted to end, where I wanted them to be. So you backwards, right? You reverse engineer it. And so you have to figure out, you're an English teacher in Brazil, you're making YouTube videos. What do you want the people watching your videos to take away from it when you're done? Then work backwards to figure out how to get them from where they are to where you want them to be. This is a technique called perspective taking. It's what my TED Talk was about. So you can go look up how to magically connect with anyone. It should be in the video description below, how to magically connect with anyone. I teach you the core concept of perspective taking in that TED Talk. My entire book is about how to do this in a tactical, practical way. My podcast, One New Person, is about that. Like my weekly blog, which is humanconnection.blog, is about that. All of my work is about this core concept, and you just need to learn the concept and figure out how to apply it, how to implement it into the work that you're doing, whether it's YouTube channel, whether it's as a teacher, perspective taking, critical skill for teachers. Writing a blog, you're working for a company, whatever. So this was great. Thank you so much for all these awesome questions. I love doing this. I'm hoping to do it more often. Stay tuned. If for those of you who are, who like all my audio and video tutorials and reviews, my new audio for content creators YouTube channel is alive. There's not much on there yet, but there will start to be a lot more videos. And pay attention soon on this channel. I'm doing an incredible collaboration with GIK Acoustics. They're one of the leaders in professional acoustic treatment, sound treatment, and we're doing a collaboration. They're sending me a complete home studio treatment kit customized for me. And I'm going to make a series of like 2 to 3 videos documenting the entire before and after process with audio samples for doing YouTube videos, for doing content creation, doing podcasts, doing music production to show the difference when you treat your studio, treat your space, and how you can do it on a low budget to a high budget and everything in between. I'm really psyched for this collaboration. I'm waiting for that stuff to come in. Should be in next week or the week after when I'm back home. They're waiting for me to be home from this tour to send me that stuff. So look out for those videos, and definitely definitely go check out my podcast. I know I've been promoting that pretty heavily. I'm losing money running a podcast. If you go watch it, I will not make any money from that. There is nothing in it for me in terms of monetary or financial gain, and I'm desperately trying to avoid monetizing my podcast. I don't want sponsors. I don't want to owe anything to anyone. And so all I want to do is get people to listen to these incredible conversations because I think they're so valuable that we're having. So onenewperson.com. If you go to onenewperson.com and just click the button to subscribe via iTunes, Google, Spotify, however you listen to podcasts, I think you will love these conversations we're having over there. Polyglotta bought a bunch of stuff because I saw your YouTube reviews. Well, thank you. If you buy stuff by clicking the links in my YouTube descriptions, you will definitely be supporting me. That's the fastest, easiest way to support me. Is clicking those links in the description. I'm so grateful that you guys do that. But head over to onenewperson.com and pay attention. If you only listen to one episode of my podcast, go listen to season 2, episode 1 with Seth Godin. It will completely change your life, blow your mind. And a new episode is coming up this Monday with the founder and executive director of idealist.org, one of the largest, most important nonprofits in the world, the guy who founded it and is still their executive director for the last 25 plus years, recorded this long form 90-minute conversation with me about idealism and how to make the world a better place. And the conversation is unbelievable, you guys. I'm so psyched for you to finally get to listen to it. So, all right, I got to run. I got a thing to do tonight. Thanks so much, everybody. And always remember that our world is a shared experience. And yes, Jawad, you can ask me about cameras on Instagram. Just shoot me a DM. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.